I'm so excited about this DIY, guys. Keep watching. Watch how I turn $1.25 into a high-end, all-year-round decor piece that you can hang anywhere in your home. And it's super simple. Keep watching. You read it. This can be changed for any season or holiday. If your Dollar Tree has these, get one. You're going to need one of these. You're going to need these 6x8 canvases. And you're going to need 4 of them. And these are bamboo sticks I got on Amazon. I don't have the link, but if you put it in the search bar, I'm sure they'll pop up. They come in a bundle. You get like 100, I think. Now we're going to start with these materials first. So we're going to strip these canvases down to their wood frames. We all know how to do this, so I'm going to speed this up. Now, when I got these canvases, I only needed 2 because I had 2 in my stash. But the 2 I had in my stash were from, obviously, a long time ago. And the 2 that I picked up today were different. So the thinner ones are the one I had in my stash. The thicker ones are the ones that I got today. Now, if you notice, the thinner ones are all one piece, and they're glued in the corners. The new ones have staples in them, and they're not all one piece. So I'm like, how am I going to do this? I don't have any more canvases. I got to make this work. So I decided I am going to put one skinny and one fat on top, and one skinny and one fat on the bottom. So that way, they're both the same length. The top panes and the bottom panes are going to be the same width across. I won't have anything overhanging. It'll match up. So that's what I did. Hopefully, when you get your canvases, they're all the same and you won't have that problem. So now I'm going to stain these with some antiquing wax and a baby wipe. We all know this. We've seen it 1,000 times on everybody's channel on YouTube. So here we go. They're done. Now we're going to glue these together with some Titebond 2 Premium. I love this wood glue. You can get it at Home Depot for like $5. You're going to need some clamps. I also got my clamps from Home Depot. They're way stronger than Dollar Tree, and they're only 99 cents each. So, and I have a lot of them. They come in all different sizes there as well. And the tiny ones are super, super strong. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to run a very thin bead of this wood glue. You don't want to use too much because you don't need a lot. It's strong. It bonds like wood. When it dries, it's like wood. And you don't, when you clamp them together, you don't want the glue squirting out and making a mess. You only need a small bead right across. So I'm going to clamp these up, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. And I'm going to set them to the side to dry. It doesn't take that long to dry, maybe a half an hour. Then we're going to work on our welcome sign, or I believe it's called a decor piece at the Dollar Tree. I forget. I didn't read the tag. I was just so excited that when I looked at it, I knew I wanted to do this DIY. That's why I hurried up and put out that shopping haul and told you guys this one was next, because I was so excited on what I had envisioned for this piece that I wanted you guys to do it before Easter came, so that you guys can do what I'm doing. And it's an awesome decor piece to add to your home. It's very welcoming, like the sign says. So I took out my little twine hanger, and I decided I am going to stain this piece as well. So I get a really skinny brush, because you're going to want to get in between the letters. Obviously, you want it all stained. You don't want one light spot in the middle of an O. So I get this brush and I get a really, really skinny brush. And I go ahead and I apply some of that antique wax, and then I take a baby wipe and I spread it around. I don't paint the whole thing with the brushes. I just apply blotches here and there. I do, however, do the insides of the letters with the brushes. Obviously, if you did it with a baby wipe, you'd get it everywhere. And I'm looking at it as I'm staining it, and I'm like, the welcome, like, some of the white paint had chipped off. And I was noticing that as I was staining. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go over the welcome in my Snow White by Waverly. And you guys know me, OCD, how to clean up my mess. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our Snow White and we're going to go over the welcome, and we're really going to brighten that up. I really wish I was that fast in real life, because this took me, when I first put these videos together, it said 2 hours and 57 minutes, and I really had to cut this video down. It did take 3 hours, but it was worth the 3 hours. Believe me when I tell you. This looks so high-end. I can't believe it. I can't believe I made it. I cannot believe I made this. It's beautiful. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to stain our bamboo sticks. Now, I thought I was going to need 4. No, I did need 4. I'm sorry. I did need 4. That's right. For some reason, now I'm going to tell you why we needed the bamboo sticks. So, when I glue all 4 canvases together, right here, I'm gluing them all together, and I'm going to put that welcome to the top. So, to me, when I seen it, I'm like, that looks like the top of an old Victorian style window. You guys ever ride by like an old 1700s building, like an old bed and breakfast, and you see those arched windows on the old houses? That's what it reminded me of. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a house out of this. I mean, a house. Ah, I'm tired. A window. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. Well, when I put the welcome sign over the 4 canvases, it fell short by like an inch. So that's what we need the bamboo sticks for. We're going to widen our canvases going across so it matches up with the welcome sign. Now, I did go ahead and just put a small bead of super glue gel, and I held it to the side of the canvas until it stayed. And then I flipped it around, and you see what I'm doing here? I'm securing it with hot glue, because I didn't put a lot of the super glue gel, because I didn't want it to squirt out and make a mess over the wax we just did. So I only used the bare minimal, because I knew I was going to go back behind it with my hot glue. Now, you're going to want to cut your bamboo sticks to size, because each side was a different length. That's why I cut them. So you have to make 4 cuts. You have to, because the Dollar Tree canvases, they're not all the same. They were all different cuts. So make sure you make 4 different cuts and measure them all. Now, I fast forwarded, I got ahead of myself, and I fast forwarded past the part where I showed you the Crackle from Folk Art. I decided, you know what? I want to crackle this window and make it old and weathered and make it look like it's been exposed to the elements. But in order to do that, my base coat needed to be a chalk paint. My biggest coat could not be the antiquing wax. So I then had to go over all of the antiquing wax I just did with Truffle and Waverly chalk paint. So if you're going to crackle this, make sure you start with the Truffle and skip right over the antiquing wax. So we got our base coat down. And now we're going to apply the Crackle. Now I want to tell you, don't rush the drying process with the Crackle. What I noticed was, when I did this before, I let my crackle dry overnight naturally without the heat gun. And when I came down and put my top coat on, the cracks were a lot deeper. They were a lot more natural looking. I'm not saying it doesn't look good, it does. But I wish I would have let it dry naturally and I didn't put the heat gun to it. I think the heat gun takes away something from it, if you know what I mean. So now the crackle's dry and we're going to go ahead and I'm putting Snow White over this. Thinking back as I'm doing this, I'm like, wow, this is really a stark white. I should have did like a plaster or ivory, but that's okay because I'm going to fix it. So now you see the cracks. I love this crackle stuff. I mean, it's a good medium. It's easy. Anybody can do it. And the cracks are just there. And it looks old and worn and weathered. And this is me just dry brushing the back. So it looks cohesive. It looks like you don't want to flip it around and it's brown on one side and like weathered on the other side. So I was originally going to keep this just like this. Because I said, well, maybe the welcome part of the window had an overhang and it was protected from the elements and it doesn't look weathered. And I'm like, no, this does not match at all. So I decide I'm going to apply this first. And I do it just like I do the bamboo. Because it's so skinny, I do use the super glue gel first. And I hold it there until I get a bond. And then I go behind it with the hot glue. But because this is such a big piece and it's not a little tiny bamboo stick, it wasn't sturdy enough for me. So you're going to see what I do here in a second. We're going to go ahead and put the super glue gel on, and I don't use a lot here either, because I know I'm going back behind it with the hot glue. I do want to say, like, the hot glue and the super glue gel and all these skinny parts and all these moving parts, is it tedious and time consuming? Yes, it absolutely is. I am not going to lie to you. Is the end result worth it? Hell to the yeah. Hell to the yeah. It is worth it. So, take your time. When I'm in my crafting room, this is so therapeutic for me. My anxiety goes from 250 down to 0. I take my time. I don't rush. Do I make mistakes? Yes. Everybody makes mistakes. And I leave my mistakes in here so you can see it. Because you can fix everything. There isn't a mistake that I have made in my craft room that I could not fix and make better to boot. So as you see now, I'm just holding it until I get a bond. And you have to hold it for a good 4 or 5 minutes. Now I got my bond and I am going to ever so carefully flip the piece over so I can get to the back of it and apply my hot glue for a better hold. Be very, very careful and very, very gentle is what I can suggest to you. So I'm just making sure, hey, is it secure? If I flip this over and lay it down, is it going to fall off? Okay. So now, you can't see me off camera, but I believe I'm applying the hot glue. This piece is so long that I couldn't get everything in the frame. Alright, so now we're flipping it over. And I got my hot glue, and I noticed that it was wobbly still. So I'm like, alright, we gotta fix this. We have to do something to make it sturdy, because I don't make junk, right? We don't make junk here on this channel. So I decided I'm going to take these leftover scraps from the bamboo sticks. I'm going to double them up. And I'm going to cut them down a little bit to size with my miter shears. So I take some hot glue. I run it in between and I sandwich it. I make sure it's dry. When I flip them to sandwich them, I had overhang on both sides. That's why I had to trim it down. As you can see right here. And pieces go flying, and that's natural in my craft room. If pieces weren't flying and glitter wasn't in the air, it wouldn't be my craft room. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it right in the middle, on top, in the back. And I'm going to apply that with hot glue as well. And I'm going to be generous with the hot glue, because I want this baby to stay. And I want a strong, strong bond. I don't want no wiggles, no wobbles. I want everything sturdy. So I go ahead and I apply that in the middle. And now I'm like, okay, I need a craft stick. So at first I got the 1-quart paint sticks from Home Depot. And I'm like, this'll do it. This is perfect. I am going to run it right up the center of the 2 canvases and attach it at the top. It was too wide. Okay, not a problem. We're going to get the craft sticks from the Dollar Tree, the wider ones that they sell. And I'm going to trim the top off because I don't want a round top. So I trim that off with my miter shears, and it cuts through the Dollar Tree craft sticks like butter. And they both go flying. So this is how I'm going to do this. I am going to apply this right here with a lot of hot glue. And then I'm going to take another craft stick and trim both sides, so I have straight edges, not round edges. And then I'm going to cut it in half. And you're going to see here in a second what I'm talking about. And I'm going to go ahead and press that down firm. Now, you see me wiping away the extra glue without any finger protectors on. Please don't do that. That's why my hands are a mess and all burnt and cut. Wear your finger protectors. I don't know how many times I have taken layers of skin off my fingertips from doing that. Do I learn my lesson? No. Because my finger protectors are like in the back of a drawer somewhere under my desk, and I didn't feel like stopping. I should have, because I did get burnt pretty good. So I'm okay, I can't lay it over the top. I gotta cut it down into 2 pieces, and that's fine. That's what I'm gonna do. Now you want to take 1 piece, put it on this side, 1 piece, put it on that side, so it looks like a big T. And you're going to use a generous amount of hot glue. When you wipe away the excess, because it's going to squirt out, use your finger protectors. I can't say that enough. So now as you see here, I'm going to shake it, I'm going to bang it, and I'm going to make sure that it's not going anywhere. And it's not. Now what I'm pointing to is the stain. It doesn't match. So I want to dry brush. And I'm going to take the Stark White or the Snow White, whatever they renamed it to. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dry brush the top of this. I'm going ahead with that dry brush, and I am getting in between the O's and the E's. And I want to make sure it looks all dry brush, all one piece. So because the bottom was so stark white, I'm taking the antiquing wax and a baby wipe, and I'm going to go over the whole bottom. And I'm not taking a lot, I'm taking a little. And if it looks too dark, it's okay. You can take a clean baby wipe and wipe away your excess, or however much you want to wipe away. But I wanted to dirty it up. I wanted to dirty up so it matched the top. And this looks so much better to me. I'm getting the insides and all the crevices and creaks and nooks and crannies, and I'm doing it all. Now, this looked so good, but I'm like, it's missing something. So I lost some footage, but I found like a small wreath form in my stash, and I'm like, this is perfect. And I had a pick from Hobby Lobby that had a little bird's nest on it, and some berries and some greenery. And the pick at the bottom, it was really thick because all them stems were wound together and then taped with the green floral tape. So what I did is I disassembled the pick and I stuck it inside my wreath. And you're going to see here in a second, I'm going to show you what I did. I'm just reapplying the hanger because I wasn't sure if I was going to hang it up by that or not. So I put it in just in case. And I thought I was done until I was like, I know what would look good in the middle of this. So here we go. This is what I did. So I had this pick right here from Hobby Lobby last year, Easter collection. It was $3.99. I'm sure I got it for half off. And I'm showing you the tape that was at the bottom, and I unwound it. So each one of those is a separate wire going down. So I twisted them all together and I stuck them inside the wreath. And the bird nest had two wires coming on either side. So I just wrapped it around the wreath and in between, and around all the greenery and the berries, and I twisted them all together and I tucked it up underneath. It was really, really easy. Like, very easy. And then I'm left with the daunting task. How are we going to hang this wreath in the middle? So I'm thinking, and this is what I'm thinking about right here. Okay. Yeah, it looks great. Looks pretty. I love it. How are we going to get it to stay? And then my wreath started breaking on me. That's okay. Nothing some hot glue can't fix, or so I thought. So the hot glue didn't hold it. What I wound up doing was squirting some hot glue down in the middle and tucking it under another piece of that wicker. I don't even know. I don't even know what they call these wreaths. All I know is it's pretty and I like it. And I had some wires sticking out, and I just trimmed it off, bent them up under so nobody would get poked if they picked it up for some odd reason. Knowing my kids, they like to touch everything, and that's what I was thinking about. They're going to grab this, and they're going to get poked. So I'm just pulling away my glue strings, holding that in there, and I'm still thinking, how am I going to hang this on our fall vintage window here? And then I remembered. A long time ago, I was making these hanging lanterns for Christmas. And I bought a set of eye hooks in all different sizes. And I'm like, that'll be perfect. That will be perfect. The only thing is, these eye hooks that I got, they form a full loop. So you're going to see what I had to do to undo this loop and get it to hold our pretty Easter wreath with our pretty bird's nest and our berries and our greenery, because I was going to make this happen one way or the other. It was going down. So this is what I'm talking about here. You get all different sizes. So, nope, those are too tiny. That's not going to hold it. And these were really, really thick. I wasn't sure if I screwed this one in, if it was going to split my wood. I was almost positive it was going to. And I almost used it. And I'm like, I think the next size down will hold this wreath. It looks tiny, but I think it'll hold it. Because we don't have a lot of weight on there. So I used number 2 in this pack. And we're going to go ahead, and I have jewelry making tools. And I'm going to show you what they look like. So you basically need 2 of these. One look like needle nose pliers, but they're not. And then the other one these are the ones I'm talking about. So this is what you use to hold your jewelry or your piece you're working on. And then the other piece looks just like this piece, only they're a little bit thicker at the end. They're thicker than needle nose. You see those? So you hold it, and you take the other one, and you're going to use the other one to bend it. So I am going to get this eye hook apart, one way or the other. So I fiddle and I faddle with it, and I finally get it to where I think, okay, this is going to hold it. It doesn't look eye-appealing, but it does the job. And all I know is it's going to hold something there for every season, every holiday. Whenever I want to switch it up, this hook is going to do me justice. So I'm like, okay, fits in there. It's holding it, no problem. You always want to check before you start screwing holes in things. And then I was like, you see how it's kind of like bent to the side? I'm like, I'm going to have to play with this to get it on there. I need it out straight. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just turning it out straight, and I'm making the gap a little bit wider. So all I have to do is just set my wreath on there. I don't have to play with anything. I don't have to twist and turn. All I have to do is pick something up, set it on there. I'm good to go. Now, I told you, it didn't look eye-appealing. Doesn't look pleasing to the eye at all. But it does the job. That's all it does what I need it to do. So I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. And these canvases, the wood is so soft that it screws in like butter. I mean, literally had to give it no elbow grease to get it in there. I just started screwing and it went right in. And it's on there. I know it's a little crooked. I end up fixing it so It looks good. But I'm happy. It works. It's so pretty. Look at this, guys. Look at how pretty it is hanging on my door. And I didn't even use the twine to hang it. I am absolutely in love with this piece. And it's so easy to make. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It doesn't break your bank. And you can do it. And you can take that wreath off and put a summer wreath on. Or you can put a hula hoop on there. You can put anything you want on there. A pair of flip-flops. You can change it for every season and or holiday. And it saves money. Saves money. Saves time. And I'm so pleased with this. Guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell your friends to tune in and do some DIYing with me. I love you. If nobody's told you today, you're beautiful, you're strong, you're smart, you're talented, and you're the real MVP. Everything will be in my description box below. And stay tuned because I'm going to have another DIY midweek. Thank you. Catch you on the next one.